Let's talk another position, and that's the first round and all of them that are available. We just went through, you just named 40 prospects that could potentially be there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm going to ask you, I mean, everybody's heard my voice for months now talking about names like Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, Emeka Egbuka, so on and so forth. We are 17 days out from the NFL draft, 16 days out from the NFL draft. Who is your favorite first round pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Ideally, in a realistic world, who do the Pittsburgh Steelers end up with? Who are your top options for the Steelers at the same time?
Yeah, my top options consist of a few names you probably heard of. Derek Harmon is one of my top options. I love that guy's game. He reminds me a lot of Stephon Tuitt. He's just a ball of muscle, man. He's so powerful. He's so explosive. I love his game. I like Kenneth Grant. I like his ability to be that 2-down nose, but also have that pass rushing 3-tech archetype to him. Reminds me a ton of DJ Reader. I really see his game developing into a really good pass rusher that can play inside and out. So I like him. I am a huge fan of Matthew Golden. I really am. I think, a lot of people when he visited thought, oh man, this guy, had this really late ascent because he had a great college football playoff. And then you look at the tape, man, he's routing guys up. He's becoming this quick separator. He's just a different archetype from what they have in that room. He can route you up from the slot. He can route you up from the Z. He's physical in the run game, and he tries. He doesn't really lollygag. I love his game. He is one of my favorite receiver prospects. I think he would be a great pick. And then the fourth guy that I don't think a lot of people kind of put in seriously, but I love Jahdae Barron. I do love Jahdae Barron's game. I think he can have a Brian Branch, Cooper DeJean-like impact in your slot position on day one. And then next year, if you have Darius Slay leave, which is what is expected probably, I think you can pop him out outside and be completely comfortable with him and Joey Porter Jr. as your two guys. I think my top option right now, personally, I'm a big Derek Harmon guy. I like Harmon the best out of the D-line guys. I like him more than Grant and Nolan. I don't think that's a very common opinion. I think a lot of people like Nolan or Grant more than Harmon, but I love what he brings to the table. But those are probably my four guys. But there's a lot of different options you can really talk yourself into. Egbuka is a completely good pick. Nolan is a high upside, but really boom or bust type of pick. But man, if he hits, he's a superstar. And then you can kind of talk yourself into some other guys that are, really in there, Luther Burden. If you can get a guy that falls, is there a wild card like Tedero McMillan or Will Johnson that falls? I don't know. I don't really see that happening, but there's a lot of options for the Steelers. But those are kind of my top four that I look at personally.
Yeah, that's Derek Harmon as your top guy, I think, is a bit surprising. You don't hear that very often throughout this draft cycle. I love Kenneth Grant. I mean, I like Derek Harmon too. I like Walter Nolan as well. I think I agree with you. Walter Nolan's the biggest boomer bust out of all three of them. But I'm a big Kenneth Grant. I'm also a big Derek Harmon guy. I think that's the right way to go for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, if this draft falls the way we expect it to, one of those guys should be there. And you got to hope one of those guys are there. And I think that's the best way to go about it. Because even if you're looking quarterback next year, even if you're thinking you don't know what's going to happen with George Pickens or Darius Slay, in a year, or you're thinking there are questions with Broderick Jones, I look at it and go, you could replace Cam Hayward in a year. You replace Keanu Benton or Larry Ogunjobi, whoever, no matter, or depending on who you pick. Right now, you add a piece to your defensive line. Like, the most overlooked problem in the Steelers defense last year was how bad their run game was at times. And that's been the case for years, is they do great and then they disappear and they can't stop anybody. And to bring in a guy like either of them, you're fixing a hole that you haven't talked about and maybe have overlooked for quite some time because of Larry Ogunjobi, who doesn't really excel there, and not having a true nose tackle. I think that's the way to go. I'm all about Matthew Golden. Luther Burden, I have more questions about. Emeka Egbuka, you're going Matthew Golden over Emeka Egbuka.
I am. My hot take is I like Matthew Golden more than Emeka Egbuka, Luther Burden, and Tedero McMillan.
Oh, okay. Why?
He's my wide receiver 2, only behind Travis Hunter. Man, I love Matthew Golden's game. If you can watch how this guy runs routes, if you watch how he separates, it's so translatable from all different parts of the field. He's got a very wide route tree. He's got an ability to go up and win. He wins above the rim still. He's not like the biggest, most physically imposing dude, but man, he's like a go ball guy that he can go up and get it still. He's just a really solid, well-rounded prospect. You look at his game, man, it reminds you a lot of some of the best route runners in the league right now. He's just a fun player, and I think he's a ceiling play. I think the floor is a little lower than, say, someone like Egbuka, right? Egbuka is really this high floor, super safe guy. Egbuka is going to get you 900, 1,000, 100, that type of kind of production. He's going to hover around that. He's going to be such a safe player. Reminds me a lot of Robert Woods. Burden is kind of this up and down roller coaster that's really fun, and I think is actually play outside and in the slot. A lot of people don't think that, but I think he could. But Golden is this separator that I just don't think there's a lot of that in this class. I love Matthew Golden's game. He's an all-around type of player. A lot of people will point to him coming on late and saying he's just a 3-game sensation, but you watch his tape throughout the season, and he's doing the same things, just wasn't seeing the football. But this guy, it can be an alpha type of wide receiver. He's a really good player. Reminds me a ton, and I'll give you a Steelers comp for him because I really think he reminds me a lot of this guy, Santonio Holmes. He really does. You watch his game, there's a lot of Santonio Holmes in his game. And the other thing about, his routes is when he catches the ball, he's already looking to make plays after the play. He's got this great yak ability to go out and make plays in the open field too. So I love Matthew Golden. He's super fun to me. I think he's my wide receiver too. If I were the Steelers, I mean, you can put him in with George Pickens and DK Metcalf and have a explosive 4 up there, because you can have Calvin Austin in there as well. It would be a really fun wide receiving course. So I'm just way higher on Matthew Golden. I think another guy that would share the opinion with me, I think Derek Bell is very much in the realm
Shout
of
out DB.
that Matthew Golden is a wide receiver 2. So that's where I'm at with him. But man, I love Matthew Golden's game. What a fun player.
That's crazy. All right. I love the take. I definitely love the take. Shout out I listen to anything DB says, honestly. Like, you know what I mean? He says, if he said the sky on draft day was purple, I'd be like, you know what? You're probably right, dude. I mean, if anybody's going to know, it's you. I like Matthew Golden. I'm a big Emeka Egbuka guy as well. Like, I think both of them are great. Are you under the assumption, because obviously Golden's a name to watch here in the first round, are you under the assumption that GP is here this season and that they're looking long term? Are you still thinking GP could be here long term? What's your thoughts there?
I don't really think they're going to extend him, and I don't think he's in their plans necessarily past this year. I don't think they're going to trade him. I don't really get that inclination. Everyone I've talked to says they're not trying to trade him. Now, the wild card I always tell people with this is the Steelers don't plan to trade him. But what does GP want to do? Because
Thank you.
Listen, man, GP's probably going to want to get paid. He's probably going to want to get paid. And I don't think the Steelers are going to want to pay him this offseason. And I don't know what the reaction to that's going to be. It could be trade. Like, it could be. And so I don't think that's crazy to think.
I agree. I try to warn everybody every time I have this conversation the Pittsburgh Steelers want George Pickens to be humble and great and walk into the door and be like, you know what? I'm glad that you paid DK before me. That sounds awesome. I'm here to stay, but that's probably not going to happen. I don't think that's going to go as swimmingly as everybody hopes it does. And once it doesn't, that's when decisions are made. None of this is made in April. He's not getting traded on draft night unless they already know something or they get an offer that they just can't refuse. And I don't think either of those are going to happen. I'm thinking June, July is when things become a little bit concerning on the George Pickens front. I agree with you, though. I don't think if I had to guess today, I would say there's a better chance he's here than he's gone, but that could change in a heartbeat the second that he doesn't show up to minicamp because he's not under contract.
Yeah, I have thought if there's maybe a resolution there. I very much think he's going to play the Brandon Ayuk playbook. I think he's going to do that. He's going to hold in. I don't know if he's going to do the theatrics Brandon Ayuk did, but I do think he's going to hold in. More like Deontay Johnson probably in that regard. But one thing I have thought about, if maybe there's a short-term kind of idea here where maybe the Steelers up his money this year and then maybe add a year on. So it's like a 1-year extension, essentially. Now, I'm not sure why Pickens would do that, to be quite honest with you, but if he just wants to get paid and the Steelers, want that security of him being here, I could see like a mini extension being done to kind of bridge that. And of course, if he is, if what we say happens and he's kind of just humble and he comes in, works really hard, and you see this kind of new leaf overturned, I mean, very, very real chance the Steelers will tag him and try to work him into their long-term plans there. But I also think they have to plan for contingencies with regards to him right now. But I agree. I think he's more than likely on the roster, but it's not because the Steelers want to trade him. They don't want to trade him. It's going to
No.
be how he reacts to he's not going to get paid. DK got 30 million a year, et cetera, et cetera. All that's going to be the question.